come join in the conversation. We have planes taking off and planes coming in, which came out on one of these uploads. As you come in, put some emojis in the air. This may or may not be a serious conversation. It depends on what realm you are in your mind. As the day progresses, it could be up or down. It just depends. I'm drinking some coffee and I am going through a realization this morning. The realization of the gaffle. Some of y'all know what gaffle is, right? That is Bay Area lingo, which we call slang. When I arose this morning, I didn't hear, I need it in my life. I want it in my life, which is something that I had heard for 2 days prior. Could you imagine waking up and hearing some artist's lyrics in your mind that you don't even know? But these are the ways that the men upstairs put things on me to address, right? Now, because I know at any given moment, if the man upstairs allows me to know what is taking place with the people that I'm working with and for. And it dawns on me, you have something called opportunists. Grand Rising. Opportunists come in all shapes, forms, sizes, beliefs, ranks, and dominions. And so, as you all know, because I've talked about it before, child support. Now, it's no big deal when you're up and you're able to take care of a child that you and the other person and the man upstairs decided wanted to be. Now, if y'all could recall me saying, in a joking manner, but I was serious, that some males and some men will say things such as, I want you to have my baby. And depending on how gullible you are, is the level that you would perceive it. Now, when you're young, you think it's cute. And then later on, you find out that it's mama's baby, papa's baby. You ever heard that? You ever heard that? Give me some hearts if y'all ever heard that. I want to see if our lingo in the Bay Area and things that we say are also said in other places. Now, of course, I'm aware of why things are taking place, but it still does not hurt any less You know what I'm talking about? So when I inform those that care to listen that I received $8, $10 in child support periodically. Now this is someone that when I met him, he was on a Harley, he had Jags, he had Mercedes. He bragged about being a pipe fitter. He would send pictures of him descending into these holes. He was the man. So he presented. I want you to have my baby. If you have my baby, you'll be in my life forever. Funny how that works. I told this cat, because that's what we call them, J-Cats, one day, that if he wanted to be in his son's life, now was the time. But see, when you're up, it's stuck. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Because I was moving on. And the person that I was with was willing to be a stepfather at that time. Fast forward 11 years later, because my son is 11, now he knows, right? $100,000. Last time I checked, it was 100,000 or close to it in the rears, depending on where we're at. It may be over in some places. With him putting $8 to $10. Now this is something that they snatch. This is not something that he is walking in, and it should make a lot of men and males upset. It should. Because these are the ones that say, I take care of mine. I ain't got no outside kid. This dude got 10 children. 10. Mine is just one of the 10. And it dawned on me, right? I was gullible. When I met him, I was in my 30s. I was gullible. Even then. So I said, the man upstairs wants me to have this child because he would not have put this child in me if he didn't want him to be. Now, when I met him, I had 2 jobs. I was a school bus driver, professional school bus driver. It means I was certified, passed all the tests, and I had what they call a TWIC. Some of you know about it because you drive for a living. That means you got to go through a certain series of classification. And what he proceeded to say was I wanted him for his money. You know, when you go through the proper channels and the protocols and you go and you start filing this paperwork, right? This one here is something else. He said, if you don't go for child support, you'll get more. That's what he said. Listen, I watched enough. At that point, I had watched enough of the Matthews and all of them. We're talking about real men, talking about you a big old dummy if you don't do it. Because these men and some males know they kind. They know that's the gift of gab. He wanted me, because I gotta jog his memory, because he like to tell tall tales. He wanted me to pay for the DNA test, which at that time was about 150. I said, no, we're going to do it like this. We're going to go to the people, right? Because I was employed and he was employed. Now, y'all know that those type of workers, they work seasonal. So that means he's not working throughout the duration of the year. And even then, he was only making about 1,000 or two more than me. I had 2 jobs, remember that. So that didn't work. She wanted me for my money. That didn't work. So after I said what I said about moving on, I did. I moved on. Because even relationships, for some people, some beings, are work. You never know that when you meet these individuals until after you ascend that you have a past with them. That more than likely they did it to you in the past. And because you were no more before that contract was complete, that meant you had another life with them, which I also addressed. And funny how as you ascend, because after a certain point, you retain your memory. Okay, so that means you are knowledgeable of who did what to you, the reason why, even when you are incarnate or reincarnated. Even then, especially if you happen to run across these dudes, females, right? You start developing a certain disdain for certain type of individuals. Now me, the men and the males that I was always interested in was the quiet ones. I wanted them to speak loudly, silently, because it's a certain demeanor that some masculine men have where they don't have to be loud, all in your face. He had that persona when I met him. He was minding his own business. He was driving down the street, riding down the street on a Harley with a brand new outfit on. I said, oh, you look nice. I ain't never rode on a Harley. I want to ride on a Harley. I'm 30-something years old. I got 2 jobs. I'm all right now. Let me have some fun. My older children were about to be adults. All right? By the time you hear, I want you to have my baby. If you have my baby, you'll be in my life for the rest of my life. It's too late because that means they done skeeted. By the grace of the man upstairs, I am healthy. I don't have any issues going on down there in there. Some may want me to, but it ain't happening. The reason why I'm talking about it is I had an epiphany. I said, this MOFO comes to my channel, right? And just sit. He was also in the Paradigm Group Ascension. He has so many dudes talking about him that don't like him. But he was fixated on listening to see how many of his baby's mamas could he hear. Not knowing that he had co-workers, exes that he didn't have children with, exes that he believed he had children with. It's always the opposite. You know, the ones that they don't claim be the ones, be theirs. With them type. All kind of stuff. When you hear it happens in distortion, that means something. That means they were either out of their body and something else was present in it, or they are fully aware and they don't care because they've moved on. They think it's hidden. You know, it's levels to pocket watching. Counting somebody else's coins. I heard this fool say, I paid my child support. I ain't gonna check because I know it's about $8, $10. I remember when I first realized that he was receiving child support. I was early into my career here, and I had been so used to not receiving ish that I didn't even check for it. The one time that I got something, let me tell you, when you have jobs like pipe fitters and even here, content creating, you owe. So when you go file them T's, you owe. And you don't know that if you've never filed. Okay? I knew because I've had employment where you receive a W-9. So that anytime you receive a W-9, that means you're going to owe something. Now, if you are capable of having two where they take one out, they take something out, and then the other one, they don't, it evens itself out. But this fool went and filed. And when he filed, I got about $576. That's the most support my son has received out of his 11 years of living. Could you imagine that? This is the same dude that said, I gotta live in a house. Y'all know, I gotta live in a house, car clean. This is why I say I can't stand people that drive around in luxury cars and litter. They want their environment clean, but the world could just be filthy. You know what I'm saying? Like little things about him. I started not liking, and it became where I didn't want to be around. I'm not gonna go into the specs because word around the angels is this fool think he gonna become a content creator for some residual income, and I can't wait. I can't wait because I already know who got it out for him. And as soon as he turned that camera on, they all coming over there. I already know he was on my other channel because I blocked him. I said, look at this. Just look at this mug. Instead of him inquiring about his child, he over here pocket watching. Talking about she gets stuff for $500, for $500. I could turn it on. All I gotta do is talk about Tyrese and Little Woody and Charles and what's his name, Clarence and White. I could talk about them, Papoose and all of them. You know how many old MOFOs is talking about them that actually got some weight? Nobody want to hear you. Because after I demolish you with the truth, you ain't gonna want to be on YT no more. This personnel is personnel. Y'all gonna get a good one in because when I go there, I go. Ain't no shame in my game. I'm gonna put it all in the air where it's fair. A lie cannot hold up against Ether's truth. This is something a lot of people done found out. Now, because he feels like D's have it out for me, he's gonna expect all the D's to come over there and be on his side. And what he don't realize is D's have been protecting me my whole life. If he had not ran into me, he probably would have been all right, because as soon as he got with me, he became multi-dimensional. He had all kind of issues going on. When you don't pay them T's, boy, and they creep up on you, they start snatching stuff. He believed in miracles then. Them be the ones, listen. When I met him, he was in the midst of a divorce. This is why I tell you ladies, you women, you females, do not do it. Do not do it. Because as soon as times get hard, they're going to run right back to their comfort zone. They don't care if they never loved them or not. Because these ones, I got to live at the house. I got to live in the house. And cheat with everything they can. So don't do it. Leave these old MOFOs right where they at. Because who they choose is their karma. This is the last time I'm had with a lot of dudes. Now these same D's that he feel got it out for me is the ones that help protect me spiritually. So that means when he gets to doing all of that in his mind and the man upstairs comes swipe it, it's because it needs to be swiped. Because if you act on it, we're going to have some problems. Now, I could remember this same dude, my child's donor, creeping around my tax credit with one of them thigh-owls on one, talking about if she opened the door, it's a wrap. And he don't think I seen him. On one, imagine not talking to someone and then they decide they bored and they own one. On the ones and the twos and the threes, you know them OGs, they like that white, the hard stuff. You can't tell because they're not on it every day. They're called functional. The functional ones. So much stuff came out about this dude during this paradigm shift, and I listen, right? Because it's not just him. It's a certain group of entertainers and celebrities that do it too. But they not on nothing. They're trying to see which one of y'all, them, are past life enemies, because it's the reason. When you first hear the man upstairs, you say something. First thing is I gotta stop. I gotta stop doing this. Because you think something wrong. You start Googling, and then if you're listening, and you're not doing nothing, and you cool, you start saying, nah, this ain't that. This is something else. Because you don't know that it's possible. You hear people say, the man upstairs talks to me, and you don't take it like literally. You taking it like it's a nudge, but you're not thinking the man upstairs is actually speaking to you. Now when I hear people say it, I say, because it's not happening to you yet. The movies like The Man Upstairs Almighty. Perfect example. Because when I heard that voice, I said, that voice sounds familiar. Because he chose to use that voice for this paradigm shift. There's been others. I've heard the man upstairs speak in several different tones. And sometimes you be like, wait a minute, is that really him or is that somebody playing? Because a lot of people doing ascension, that's what they do. They start saying that they people that they not, beings that they're not, ETs and all kinds of stuff. And so you be skeptical. You know, some of y'all know exactly what I'm talking about, because we've been having to windmill all of this stuff spiritually. If they could come into your plane of existence, they definitely would. The ones that have a contract. So when you start talking about walk-ins, and then you look at your relative, your co-worker, and you say, something wrong with this, it's because that being is not there. And it ain't no moment to where you can say, man, such and such really gone, because the body's still there. You know what I'm saying? It's like you don't know how to process it. You don't know if you should cry, if you should pray, because it's like you wake up one day they all right, and then you wake up the next day they act like they don't like you, and you like, where is the original being? If that is the original being, that's the cold part about it. When you ascend so high, these are some of the Sikinos of the world. You know, at one point I said, I got guardian angels. If somebody were to tell you that a guardian angel was a demon that had been protecting you your whole life because of where you were created and birthed at, you would say, how is this possible? I've been taught that this is the way this is supposed to be. And the fact that you've been taught a certain way should be a red flag. The reason why it's important, right, is because some of y'all got that notification that child support. When I looked at it, I just shake my head. I was talking about after I received that snatch, you know, the G is good for some things. In that situation, it'll be many males and men that say he deserved that. After I received that snatch, it took about a year or two before anything else came on because he was so heated about that $576. This is somebody that did not want his child to have absolutely nothing because I wasn't bending it over and spreading it wide for him. And one of the reasons was that's how I get sick. This dude, let me tell you, that was it. Imagine going to a hospital and you got something that you can't get rid of. I ain't talking about the heart. I'm talking about mutated. I had to go to the hospital 4 times. And I bet you this dude still got it. I'm going to tell you, because it's the truth. If you ever encounter him and you lay down with him, you're going to have something that is a mutation inside of your ASS. I said never again. And I meant that. I meant that. He has such a disdain for me. How in one breath could you say, I want you to have my baby, you're going to be in my life forever, to when you see him for the first time, you act like you want to throw him in the river. You got to watch it. You got to watch it. Because some of them, when they move around to these different dimensions and realms and planes, they not right. You be sitting there brawling for your life with somebody that you felt did you dirty, not you did them. And it's all because of what they don't have. So I realized that because they're snatching this $8 to $10 every month or every 2 or 3, 2 or 3 months, that he feels like he could be released from a distorted plane or place. This is what the man upstairs knows as well. He feels like because he paid his $8, that he should be somewhere where he can make more, where he can function well, all while not caring I could turn on this phone every day and be sleeping in my car in the street. What about your child? How how far does $8 stretch? This one, $8 is a sandwich. How do you sleep at night? Some people say that the C word is good for those type. I feel like he's too scary to do that. You would have to pay for that. If you don't want any more, then it's a possibility. But because I said I'm gonna have this child, he's my responsibility. How do you sleep at night? I want him to stay off of my channel, like he stays out of his son's life. There's no reason for him to come and sit. This fool think he gonna put that nastiness on me. This is the conversations that he's having. If she's in a hotel, maybe I can find her. Because he feels like after he slept with me, he didn't have all these aches and pains. So I'm telling y'all, males, females, women, men, if you start noticing that you got aches and pains after you lay down with someone, it's spiritual. Now you could think that I'm joking or not. Some of you are realizing for the first time why you hurt like you do. Now I'm putting it out here so you all will understand what glitters is not always gold. To the type of men that I see as worthy, they would not like him at all. At all. And because I'm sharing it, we know that the truth is present. My first impression of him was he was a quiet, laid-back dude that took care of his business. That was my first impression. When you get to know someone, and we don't want to hear you need to wait 6 months, because that's a bunch of BS. Especially all of y'all that feel like y'all hypergamous and that you want somebody of a certain class. You're not finna wait no 6 months. And they ain't either. So y'all can go on with that. Ain't nobody waiting no 6 months. You finna go and put on some of them Victoria's Secretions and do all the primping and all you can to get this dude's attention. And just hope he don't have somebody on the side. And then then you got the crew that's bold, right? They gonna light one of them eggplant candles and put a stop to all that. Because depending on where you at, the man upstairs is gonna allow it. You're gonna be sitting there talking about why my stuff? Why am I? It's not. It's my ping is not poinging, and it's because they didn't bound it. You gonna mess around and run into the right one because the man upstairs is making it that way. When all the angels, especially the you world, get to talking about why are you allowing this? Why are you doing this? That means their hands is tied. That means everyone as a collective understands that they can't do no more. It's up to him. Then you hear them say, "Oh, man upstairs, please, please." Then you get to hear him because he's not telling us verbatim. We only hear bits and pieces. Then you got some of the most. I'm talking about some of the most laughing because they finally get to hear it. So if you one of them, don't start talking about, "Man upstairs, please, 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 please." Because it's going to be a whole host of angels laughing. I'm telling you right now. Oh, I want it in my life. Come put it in my life. I'm going to keep it in my life. Yeah, we know what's going on with that. The spiritual ramifications is right. When they start looking and really seeing and understanding what is present right before their eyes, they say, all right. All it takes is one good one. You see Ether pop up on your timeline. That's that one. I'm telling you right there because that's how he do it for the ones that he want to watch. He gonna put it right there. So you don't have to search. It's right there. And when you click, you're gonna say, what? Some of y'all don't even realize your zodiac sun sign. That make it worse. Because they didn't already got your birth certificate. And some of us, we got the old ones where you got your time on there. The city and state. And if you're a celebrity entertainer and an artist, is worse because all your information right there. Everything. Some of y'all didn't even realize that somebody could Google your zodiac sun sign. Because you off living. You don't even think you that big. And somebody then decided that they want to put all your information on the World Wide Web. Because you said they can't do me like that. Because they can't shoot. Google your name. Google. Why they want BG? Google Juvies. Google Juvies. I'm using him because y'all already know he just had a birthday. Google Juvies zodiac sun sign and see what you get. When you start, those that are into astrology, you know, when they figure out a celebrity or entertainer's zodiac sun sign, it speaks volumes. Now, Aries is a powerful zodiac sun sign amongst readers. So that's for one. Scorpios are another. With the readers, I changed the scope of that. Y'all don't know that Aries and Scorpio is the same energy. That's Mars energy. That's the same energy, just different spectrums. You have fire and you have water. That's why I said Scorpio. This is both Mars energy. When you realize that somebody playing with you because they know you playing with them, then it gets interesting. That would be a fire collab, Aries and Scorpio, fire and water. It would be a lot of metaphors taking place in that type of hit. You just got to sit and think. I foresee a lot of people, artists, wanting to know people's zodiac sun signs before they work with them. Especially now. If they encounter my channel, oh. They gonna be like, let me see your ID. Now, see, is different levels. Let me see your ID. Let me see your birth certificate. It's different levels. Because you don't know when I put that uh, analytics there, where I said I had over 1 mil plus views. That was 3 years ago. 3 years ago. It's still up there. After I did that, there was some entertainers wanting to know why theirs was so low. And it is because you were in one place. Some couldn't even access it because of where they were at. Now it's so far gone, you wouldn't even be able to get that type of tally anymore. That's when you first see something, you screenshot it. You don't wait because it's gone after that. I happened to see it and I got it. This is how you know everything is counted for on here. They know where it's at any given moment. If they want to shut it down or embed, especially, they'll shut it down. That sucker won't work. This has been happening to me since the beginning, since I knew about the World Wide Web. I just didn't know that that's what it was, being multidimensional. That means you can access something only when you're there. You can see something only when you're there. Other than that, it's hidden because where you were at in your mind when you created it. Let me tell you something. The Asian culture believe that you are not supposed to give that type of information out because of stuff the possibilities that could happen. You won't find them telling you that their time of birth, possibly not even their birth date, because that's too much information. The Asian culture is very spiritual, but they call it something else. So I just wanted to come on and talk about just boat. Some of y'all ain't got no choice, because y'all where things happen. You ever been sitting there saying, how can somebody get clank for not paying child support? And your baby daddy ain't paid in 17 years because they somewhere else. Y'all get what I'm talking about now? Because they somewhere else. Here you is working 17 jobs and he riding around in a car that he put in his son's name to keep them from snatching it. Living in his wife's house. Because she got that good 8. You know what I'm talking about, that section? You know how they manipulate the game. You know how it's done. I said to him one day, I said, people don't realize that I don't have a house because I don't have that 8. You don't need to be hating on nobody that got it. I said to him, some stuff is overpriced, right? It's overpriced. You can't tell nobody what to charge their prices, that they got their own business. And here this motherfucker is with his eyes wide on my membership. Why it's good for them, but it ain't good for me? Don't be mad at me because you didn't see the possibilities. All you wanted was some booty. And that's all I wanted at the time too, in a ride on a Harley. I didn't think I was gonna get up prego. I didn't. I'm telling y'all the truth. I didn't. But it's when you don't think it's going to happen, and it happens. Especially when you got something on you like my lineage had. So now that we are transitioning out of that, some of y'all are more comfortable with me, with the information that I have to say, because you didn't been out there and bumped your head. I'm saying, ain't nobody gonna know this like Ether. Now you got somebody that you could go to and say, why is this happening? Even if you think it's unfathomable. Wait a minute. Let me ask Ether. You just gonna have to put it down, you know. You're gonna have to bless Ether. Because this is how the man upstairs want it. If I was on a TV program, it'd be different. Because then they be paying me. Y'all know what I'm talking about? I'm still waiting to understand why I was hearing Juvie Hook. I did see him. I ain't been on the gram. For those of you that want to know why, it's because the device where I have those media apps on says no connection, and I'm not looking to put it on another one. I have other ones, but I'm not looking to do that because it's like that for a reason. You know what happens when I go on the gram? I see stuff that other people don't see. This is how I know what Bugattis is. I flipped on the gram and I said, "What is that?" Then I Googled it. I Googled, where can you get a Bugatti? The closest place where I was then was Mexico. You would have to take a flight to buy one of them. It ain't even nobody in this area with one. I ain't never seen nobody driving a Bugatti, ever. I done seen some Lambos. I done seen some nice stuff where I say he gotta be an entertainer, a producer or something. Because of the area that I was in a gated community. So you run across all kind of people. You don't know their occupation. I mean, he could have been a ball player or something like that. He was making money. I could tell because of the car he was driving. These cars got zero. These is two houses. You know what I'm saying? You know, when you got a car, it's two houses combined. Somebody, I shared the flying cars, y'all. Now everybody that got 16 Rolls Royces said we gotta up the game now. I want to see which entertainer celebrity is the first one to have a flying car. Because now 16 cars, those 16 cars don't matter unless you got one that's flying. If you got one that's flying, how many celebrities and entertainers is gonna take them back, sell them, so they can get them a flying car? How do y'all? What y'all think? Oh, they definitely have. And they talk about mass producing these things, but you can start purchasing them at the end of the year, beginning of 2026. I want to see who's going to be the first to have a flying car. I know it ain't going to be me. You know what I'm saying? Those are the ones you want to watch. Who you married to? When you start introducing flying cars, those are the ones you want to watch. Some of y'all feel like it ain't gonna be no celebrity. This is gonna be for the wealthy. How we gonna know then? Unless somebody tell us, hey, they say, such and such got a private jet. Oh, how you gonna know? Because those type of men and women, you have to know them personally to know what they got. wealthy like that, we not gonna know if they got a flying car unless an entertainer or a celebrity tell us. That's just that on that. Is there any questions? And some of y'all like me, I want to see too. Who got enough money to buy a flying car? That's a lot of zeros. He said the price of them. Then he said he making them. He can't even afford. You imagine that? He said I can't even. Silicon Valley. You know, Silicon Valley is the place. I've spoke about Silicon Valley in my readings. Y'all better pay attention. Because I can't say this. I can't say it like that. Because of who I am. Y'all see these other content creators and they got verbal diarrhea. It is because of where they're at. They're not multidimensional. This stuff is not being seen in different places. It's in one place, and where it's at is always drama filled. Always. Everybody gravitates towards the drama. They don't care if it's actual factual or not. I did see, and if he happens to see this, I did see where they claimed him for child support. And in one of his recent lies, he said that was a rumor. If he knew that people was getting his old stuff, I'm talking about Mr. Gibson, getting his old stuff and putting it out as if it was new, he would understand why there's so many rumors about him. When you in the midst of an upheaval, you're not putting two and two together. He got to realize, even if he does not have two copper pennies to rub together, even though they're not copper no more, he's still gonna have fans. It's not gonna diminish him any lesser to the real ones. Now, in your immediate circle, it might. I did see that about Miss Blige. I did see that. They gon' dramatize it. They're gonna dramatize it. That's what they do when you have a persona like that. Everything you say, they gonna pick apart. They gonna make it something because they want people's eyes. And this is why T said, we're not doing this. Y'all not finna start with me. Because it was getting out of hand. People didn't know what was the truth and what was not. So, you know, some things you just, they don't have any coof. They tactless. It's the zeros. When you go viral, and if you got a dollar sign next to your name, you gonna know. It takes one time to go viral, and it'll change your T bracket. Just once. Now, depending on your living situation, will determine, is your life gonna change? Because you got a group of content creators that say, I'm not going over this because they're on a fixed income. So that means once they hit their quota, they're not gonna put no more stuff out, because if they go over that, something is in jeopardy. Could you imagine that? I had a thought about that maybe about a year ago. I said, you diminishing yourself in so many words. If you hit this quota and then you don't want to put nothing out, you don't know the possibilities. And look where I'm at. If I would have not been uploading like I was in the beginning, I would have still been in my T credit unit. which is Medane. So that means it's not going to go over a certain, it's not going to go over a certain price. You know what I'm saying? They going, when I first moved there, they went up 6 times from the time that I moved there to the time that I exited. The rent went up 6 times. So, but it's a cap. They can only do it so many times before it's a cap. If I would have just slowed down, I wouldn't be in this situation. I'd be in a different one. Because all it takes is a few 80,000, 40,000, 30,000 views before it changes your T bracket. This is why I'm telling y'all have to pay attention. If somebody's getting 100,000 views a week, that means they're wealthy. I'm telling y'all. Some do it, they know that they taking others' views, not the money. They know that they do it and they still do it. And then they be sitting there talking about, the man upstairs said and then they didn't just help to take somebody else down. That is it.